Hi, everybody. Hi, welcome. Thank you all for coming. I'm so grateful to see all of you here live, and we've got a lot of people joining us from around the world. So whatever time you're here with us, thank you for being here. So today we're going to have a really fun show. We're going to start with
Hi, everybody.
a little bit about. We'll have to turn my speaker off.
Thank you all for coming. I'm so
We're going to hear
grateful to see
feedback.
all of you here live, and we've got a lot of people joining us from around the world.
Sorry about that. There will be a little bit of a feedback loop into my microphone. I was sending chats to you on my phone and I forgot to turn the sound off. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about the ascendant and how it's calculated, because I've had so many people write and tell me, well, I was told I had a Leo ascendant, and I was told I had a Pisces ascendant, and then I'd send them their horoscope and it's something completely different, and they are wanting to understand that. So for one reason, you'll be able to understand why your ascendant is what it is, and you'll be able to check the work that you might do yourself if you're making a horoscope, or that someone else has done for you or for a friend. And it's a really good trick that we're going to learn. We've talked about it a little bit before, but on another video, but you can't talk about this too much because it really helps you understand how astrology works, in the sense, how is the chart set up and what does it mean and why. So, I want this to be really clear in your mind so that you will instantly be able to look at a chart and see if it's been calculated correctly. Now we're talking about how to make an estimate. I know some of you people who hated math in school, an estimate, oh no. An estimate just gives you a ballpark figure to see if something is logical. Does it make sense? Could it be? And you're going to be able to know this instantly. So we're going to talk about that for a second, and we're going to do a little bit of talking about glyphs. And I have an exciting idea about a new video I'm going to make for you that I think you're really going to love this idea. Then we're going to talk about the eclipse. And I want to clarify something I said about secondary progressions. If you watched the Donald Trump eclipse video, something that I did not elucidate on in that video, but I want to tell you guys about it. And the eclipse is happening on the night of the 24th, actually the morning of the 25th, shortly after midnight on the West Coast. I think it's 3:59 a.m. So it's the night of the 24th, the early morning of the 25th. So to be on our calendars correctly, you'll know when it's happening. We do have another Saturday time to talk about the eclipse. So we'll start talking about it today, and we'll talk about it some more. And I would like you all to make your observations about what you think, how you feel that the eclipse actually affected you once it's happened. To say you thought it was going to hit you in the money area, and in fact it hit you. You noticed you had something happen in your health area or something like that. Make a note about how this eclipse has affected you, and put it in your little astrology journal so you can refer to it in the future. Maybe you can look back on things and understand it, and then you will understand how future eclipses are going to affect you more. So, I do want to remind everyone, please like and subscribe. They have this thing on YouTube where your channel gets extra things if you have more people. So that's why I have to remind everybody about that. Okay, let's look at, I just drew a little map using, I just drew this a little while ago with a Sharpie, and I drew a circle around a bowl. So you could be in a restaurant having a talk with somebody and draw a little circle on a napkin or something. And make your own little chart to get an estimate, a sketch. I tried to make this really basic so you will really understand the concept here. This is fundamental. You must get this idea. So the ascendant is the actual line of the horizon. And I'm going to make this little green line. This is the horizon when you were born, the earth. And if you looked in the direction of where the sun would rise in the morning, you're looking at the east, that point where it intersects with the zodiac would be your ascendant. Now, if you happen to have been born at sunrise, your sun in your horoscope would be sitting right there. Whatever time sunrise is, if you were born just a minute after sunrise, your chart will look like that. So this is a starting point. Now, it's obvious to you, it should be obvious that since this is a map of the sky, if you're born at noon, the sun will be located here, overhead. Pardon my lack of art skills, but just to point to the noon position. So if someone tells you they're born at noon and you look at their chart and the sun is not up there, then the chart is wrong. Okay, so you can double check the one that I made for you and see that these positions make sense. Likewise, if someone is born at sunset and let's say the sun just went down, their chart would look like this. Sunset. And the final point here, these are the cardinal points on a chart, is the midnight point, or the IC for the Imum Cheli, the heaven that's underneath the horizon. If you're born at midnight, you would look like this. Now, some of you may have noticed that the houses are not equally divided on your horoscope. Some are bigger and some are smaller. Now, we're not going to get into that at length today because that's a really technical discussion, and you don't have to know all about electricity to turn on the light switch, and you don't have to know all about the houses, just how they're calculated to use them. Just understand that the way that the systems of houses make a modification to adjust for those people who are born in northern latitudes, especially where it's summertime or wintertime, where the length of the day and the night is not equal. That makes sense to you. Because sometimes if you're way in the north, the sun is rising late in the morning and going down early at night. So it's not rising at 6 a.m. and it's not setting at 6 p.m. I wrote this down for the equinox, the equinox, either the spring equinox, it's called equal, meaning equal day, equal night. This is approximately for equinox. You can make a final adjustment to this if you know someone is born in the summer. Now we're going to go to that example now, because what to do. But houses can be bigger or smaller. I was doing April's horoscope a few days ago, and I mentioned her midheaven, because she was born in Massachusetts, was looking around here somewhere at an angle. It wasn't straight up. The reason for that is she's born way up in the Northland, Massachusetts. I don't know the longitude, 45 degrees or something. And she was born in January, so that made a difference in how long it takes to get to noon. But these are fine points. So I just want you to know that the houses automatically make a correction for that problem, that it's not exactly 6 o'clock. And that's why it's really important to know where you're born in order to get your correct times. But we're talking about how to make an estimate right now, so I don't want to get sidetracked too much. Now, next step, make sure this is the first way you think of things. Then the other houses are divisions of the sky. How many houses are there, everybody? 12. How many hours? 24. So roughly, for your purpose of your estimate, each house gets roughly 2 hours. Ballpark figure. That's what we're doing now. We're making an estimate. So It takes approximately 2 hours for the sun to go through each house. And when you figure that, you get this. If you're born at 6 a.m., the sun is here. If you're born at 8 a.m., the sun is approximately here. Notice we're going even numbers, 6, 8, 10, 12. Now, I really like military time, but most Americans don't do that. But military time helps you with the AM and PM thing. But using the American system, now it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, midnight, 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning. These are your position, the rough estimate positions of where your sun would be at any specific time of day if it's above the horizon, or night if it's below the horizon. Now, this should be logical and clear to everyone. So if your birth time is 10 in the morning, you're going to have your sun up here. If you have a chart that's showing it any of these other places, there's been an error. Now, does that mean you're a stupid, your friend who did your chart or the astrologer who did your chart is, you know, I probably made some mistakes on some because I just cranked out hundreds in a few weeks, and it was kind of, my eyes were getting really blurry, and I was looking up to the computer screen and squinting, and I'd say, is that a 6 or is that an 8? You know, and I checked 3 or 4 times, making sure I actually got things right. But even so, and using the computer, you could make a mistake. When a person does the calculations by hand, mistakes are much easier to make. I've done thousands of charts by hand. I used to do them when I lived in Rome. There were no computers in the dark ages when I was young, you know. So I got to the point where I'd crank them out in about 10 minutes, but I would look, because you can make a mistake. It's in your math. Or just reading across the lines, you're reading across a table to see the house position, and you could just your eye could jump a line, and you get the wrong thing. So anyway, it needs to be logical. So this map needs to make sense to you, and you should be able to figure this out. If you're sitting in a restaurant with someone and you're talking about astrology and they want to know, you want to know if their chart has been correctly done, you can start with this idea. Say, well, what time were you born? Now, if they're born in the middle of summer, you can just make an adjustment and say sunset is going to be closer to 8 p.m. So here's an example that I had with a lady who may be here present, and she wrote me and said that she had a dear friend who calculated her horoscope, and that I had said that according to my calculation, she was a Sagittarius rising, and her sun was in Leo. So let's see if you can catch this, and see if you can make sense of this using this method here. This lady was born around about 3 hours before sunset, because it was summertime in July, and she was born in the late afternoon. So you would say, if she's born about 3 hours before sunset, that her sun ought to be in this area here. Oopsie, are you seeing that? Yeah, okay. Is everybody seeing the things I'm drawing? I hope. Okay, I'm just checking my technology here. So it should be there. Now, remember, she said she was a Leo. So you know 2 things about this person, and you could do this procedure with a friend of yours or your own chart. So she's a Leo. So her sun is there, and the zodiac sign that's here would have to be Leo. Okay? Now, could she be, her friend had said she was a Cancer rising. So this lady said to me, could it be that she made a mistake because it was daylight savings time? And what's the answer to that question? She was given the fact that she was a Cancer rising. Now, let's figure out the zodiac from Leo. You remember that the zodiac, the Earth, this is caused by the Earth's rotation in a day. The Earth is rotating this way. So the zodiac is going up this way. Remember our natural chart, Aries is here, the first one up, then Taurus, and so forth. So we're counting around the zodiac going in the clockwise direction. So we'd have to count backwards from Leo. Is there any way that she could be a Cancer rising? Remember the order of the horoscope: Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo. So this would be Cancer here. Cancer would be in this place. Gemini's here, and so forth, coming around. Yes, Sagittarius makes sense because she's born all these hours after sunrise. She's born at like 5 in the afternoon, or 4:30, or between 4:30 and 5:30. I don't remember, but just as a ballpark figure, her sun is over here. She can't possibly be a Cancer rising, because to be a Cancer rising, she would have had to have been born in the dark before the sun came up. If Cancer's here and Leo is here, it's dark when she's born. It's still nighttime. So that couldn't be. So it needs to be logical. And I had at least 3 people write me this week with a similar situation, saying that they would have been told blah, blah, blah. And it just wasn't logical, and it couldn't possibly be. So if everybody look at your chart, make sure that I didn't screw something up, because I could. I've turned out hundreds of charts in the past month, and there's got to be, my eyes were getting blurry. I have to tell you, I've had eye strain from being at the computer. I'm not used to looking at the computer 10 or 12 hours a day. So could be. And if I made a mistake in your chart, I will be so happy that you found it. Because that means you're really understanding, and it meant that I didn't look at it and say, is this logical? And that could be because I was getting a little tired. So errors can happen, and you always want to check your work. Now, this would help you, other than checking your work, if you're talking to a friend in a restaurant and they would like to know their ascendant and they don't have a clue, you could make a rough estimate using this system. You say, well, they're born at 10 o'clock in the morning. Their sun is here. And what if their sun is Gemini? You know that they're a Gemini. They told you, I'm a Gemini, and I was born at 10 in the morning. And then you would say, okay, well, how would you work this one out? You count backwards 2 signs, and then you can figure out all of your ascendants. So it gives you a way to win a parlor games, or make interesting conversation with people who want to know their ascendant, and you can check your work if you're trying to figure out someone else's horoscope. Oh, by the way, on this topic, I wanted to say that I know many of you might have friends or relatives and you'd like to see about their chart. So you have 2 ways you can do that, which would be super great. One, everybody gets a free chart. Everybody gets 1 free chart. So if they would just subscribe to the channel and send me an email. Oh, here's my email address. Let me put it up for you. Have them request a chart, and I'll send it to them. And I'm delighted to do that, because that's really going to help our channel. And so astrologyvibrations@gmail.com, and I'll send them the chart and their interpretation. Now, if you want to get your grandchildren or your next door neighbor or your friend or a potential partner, and you want to see how your charts match up, I am going to be making an offer for, if you want extra charts after you get your free one, that I will send you the chart and the interpretation for $5. And I have PayPal and I have Venmo at Astrology Vibrations, and I'll send you more. I kind of have to do that because otherwise I'm just at the computer all day long, and I want to be doing other things like making videos for you and stuff. So if you want to take advantage of that offer, you can get them to sign up for free, or else you send me $5 and I'll send it right back to you. Okay. Are you guys does anyone have any questions or need clarification about the ascendant calculation? Put thumbs up if you are good with that, and we'll proceed to the next thing. If somebody wants a clarification, okay, I see some thumbs up. Good thing about this video is you can just watch it again at another time. What if next week you just forgot what I said? You can just review this quickly. Okay, next thing. So I want to answer a question that Betty had before, and it's a very good question, and it brings us into the topic of the astrology glyphs. Now, as I mentioned, the glyphs are ancient symbols that are archetypal images that are really important, that you get those glyphs automatic. So Betty's question was, what the heck is that Capricorn thing? Because on this little map that is in your handouts, I pointed out that I don't really like the Capricorn sign. What the heck? I don't like the Capricorn sign because, I'm sorry, it's backwards, and it's so hard to get used to that. I don't like this glyph very much. It's not the traditional one. You can use this if you like it, though, because if you like it, and this is the one that suits you, then that's a really important thing. But I do want to talk about this. She said, why does it look like that? So I want to go into that topic because we will be discussing the meaning of the glyphs in general, but today we're going to just briefly do a little bit. So we have Aries. This is the sign of the ram. Now, I'm from San Diego. We have Borrego sheep. It makes me think of the Borrego sheep, the horns, how the bighorn sheep look. So that is the sign of a bighorn sheep. There's their horns right there. Now there's another one that's pretty easy to figure, Taurus. This is the bull, and there's the bull horns. Now, you know, if you have ever heard a bullfight or something, I really don't like bullfights, but the word toro means bull. And this is from the constellation that looks like the bull. Taurus, bull. Now, Capricorn is in this family of glyphs because it represents something. And I have to take credit for this because I lived in Italy for so long that I think in Italian. And so I understood what this word was. When you are, let's say you're a native English speaker, sometimes we don't think about how words are put together. My son went back to Italy to visit family there, and he was 18. And when he was flying home, he said to me, I asked him, well, where are you landing? And he said, I'm landing in Newark, which is what they told him in Italy. He was going to Newark. And I went, what? Oh, Newark. He's going to Newark. We don't think Newark. Oh, I have to. I'm sorry. I turned off my AC, but it's still coming on, and it just sounds like I'm in a wind tunnel. So sometimes we just think of a thing put together, and we don't think of the meaning of the words as they're initially intended. So here's the word Capricorn, C-A-P-R-I. This is Italian for goat. It's actually the plural form of a goat. So you see why it's in this family. Ram, a bull, and a goat. Capri is the plural form of goats. The island of Capri in Italy is very beautiful and rocky. It's not suitable for sheep because it's mountainous, and this is where the mountain goats live there. It's Goat Island, is what that means. So we think of this beautiful rocky island coming out of the green emerald sea. Capri, Goat Island. The other part of the word, corn, this means horn, corno. You know a horn of plenty that you put stuff in at Thanksgiving. It's shaped like a horn. Corn is the original Italian word for horn. Capricorn, goat horn. So the glyph is like a little picture. Here's the little goat tail, the little goat body and legs, and the goat head, and there's his horn. And that's really the origin of that sign, the little goat and the little sign. Now, on the glyphs, we're getting to something important. So this is like technical, and you may think that's not important, but what is important is that you gain the ability to draw these without thinking. Now, I've been taking courses in remote viewing for some time, and they insist that the glyphs that they use, for example, one glyph is for people or animals, you make this little thing, because they want you to be able to connect with your unconscious mind in the drawing, so that your drawing, your hand motion, and you connect with that glyph in such a way that you are actually making a connection to your subconscious mind, which is the warehouse where you store all information, right? You know that if it's in your unconscious mind, it's always there. It never goes away. And you can access that unconscious mind. Remember the talk about Mel Blanc and Bugs Bunny comes back. Your unconscious mind is a pathway to reach the one source. So you need the ability to draw the glyphs automatically, just like you know that 2 times 2 is 4. You're not thinking. You could do that while you're sound asleep. So I had this idea to make a new video so that we don't spend class time every Saturday going over the glyphs. What we're going to do is I'm going to make a video with beautiful music. And this music is going to be designed to put you in like a trance state, because it's been shown by doctors who do brain scans and do electroencephalograph work that when you're in a hypnotic or trance state where you're deeply meditative state, you're around 9 hertz of frequency. So we can use music and binaural beats to help your brain waves enter that frequency. And then I'm going to give you some drills to write the glyphs. And I want you to get a pen that is smooth writing. Now, if you're studying remote viewing, they tell you to get this kind of a pen. I don't have, this is not a promotion. I'm not paid to tell anyone, but this Pilot G2 pen, I've just bought a box from Amazon. I finally broke down. I got a bunch of them because they do work better. The reason is they're very smooth, and you can just, and it comes out clean and effortless, and it isn't bumpy. It needs to be really smooth. Now, you've noticed some mediums that you know, like if you watch Kim at Intuitive View, when she's doing her reading, what's she doing? She's scribbling she's going like this. Why? Because this is a method that you train yourself to connect with your inner self, with your subconscious mind, and with the one source. Many mediums do that. One that is a really great medium also, Alison Dubois. She was the inspiration for the TV show called Medium. I love that show. I really recommend it if you like mysteries and good television and good writing. This is the actual true. This was based on her life, because she lived in Arizona and worked for the police department, finding solving crimes through her mediumship. And those stories are true adventures that she had. But she has a YouTube channel, and when you watch her, she'll be listening to the person and doing this because she's making that connection. So I'm going to make a video for you to do. I'm going to ask if you could do couple of minutes a day, 2 or 3 minutes a day. And that's all. And it will have little sections, and it'll develop your skill in knowing not just the glyphs, but the sequence of things around the zodiac, the rulerships, like the sun, what planet rules what sign, and what sign rules what house. So you'll just get automatic, and you can listen to some beautiful music and meditate. Get yourself a nice pen, some scratch paper, and just do a couple minutes a day. 2 or 3 minutes a day is what you need. If you want to do a little bit more, okay, but this way you can be a regular, and I'm going to regularly doing it. Consistency is important. Just like any other thing you're trying to learn. I'm a piano teacher. You have to be on your piano. You got to do practicing every day. Just a couple of minutes, so you can do it. And I'm going to make beautiful music that's very relaxing. Will make you feel good. And you can do it in bed. Get yourself a clipboard, a nice pen, relax. Put your headphones on. Headphones will be better, and then you'll be able to do that. And really make good progress in your knowledge of astrology, but more than that, you'll be able to contact the inner self, which stores all that knowledge, and it'll be very useful for you. Okay, so and I'm going to make a video. It'll be astrology glyph practice or something like that, and just put it on a little bit at a time. Okay, I wanted to talk about something I said in the video regarding Donald Trump. And I just wanted to give some details about a comment I made so you understand. And this relates back to the fact of what we're talking about today, in how the Earth is moving in rotation, so it's going that way. And every 24 hours, the Earth rotates on its axis, so each astrology sign takes about 2 hours to go by, and there's 1 degree on the ascendant, changes about every 4 minutes. Now, this rotation is one entire zodiac cycle in 1 day. Okay, 1 cycle in 1 day. That is equivalent to how long it takes for the Earth to go around the sun. It takes 1 year to go through the whole zodiac. So there's a correlation between 1 day and 1 year that is used by astrologers. It's called secondary progression. So you use this correlation of 1 day for a year. And I'm just going to talk about it briefly so that you see what I was talking about. Here's Donald Trump's inner circle, the one in the middle. Let's see. I'm not sure if you can see the pointer. I notice when I do the pointer, it doesn't come out when I record. Are you able to see can you see the cursor circling around on the chart here visually? Can somebody tell me? Can you see the circle? Can you see that? Okay. Somebody tell me, can you see the cursor circling? Okay, and I'll keep my eye on your comment. There's about a 5-second delay. Okay, so on the inner circle, even if you can't see the pointer, you see the inner circle. These are Donald Trump's natal planets. Now, someday when you have your own horoscope reading, you'll have this. You'll have your chart on the inside. Then it's common to have the center ring be the secondary progressions. That's a day for a year. It's a way to time things. And then the outer circle would be the transits of today. So you compare all 3 rings and see what's going on. Now, the one one thing that's very good for looking at timing, I'm going to circle it here in the green color, and it's in the middle ring in the second house. You see the moon here? Grace and Harmony, you said, no, you can't see the pointer. All right, well, then I'm doing this in green so you can see this is the moon, and that's the secondary progression. You cannot see. Okay, thank you for that information. You'll have to put up with my terrible drawing then. I'm practicing on this, how to do the drawing, but I'm not very good at it still, you can see. Anyway, I circled the moon in green, and it's at 14 degrees of Libra. Now, the cool thing about the moon, it goes about 12 to 15 degrees every day. So in a year, it's going to go about 12 degrees. That makes it 1 degree for 1 month. Now, this is a critical timing factor. And so when you're wanting to time things, we say, when is this going to happen? Progressed moon is a really good thing to look at. And I mentioned this in talking about Donald Trump. And I said, well, it's 14 degrees. It's heading up to his Jupiter. Now, normally, you would think of Jupiter as being good luck because it actually means expansion. And for most of us, expansion is a good thing. Donald Trump doesn't need expansion in lies, and expansion in things that he's doing is not a really good thing. It's something like the image I'd like to bring up. I was thinking of this. You've probably seen that old movie, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, where the little girl says, I want it now. And then she blows up into a big purple blueberry and floats away or something. She got more right now. And it was too much of a good thing. And that can be bad. So in this case, the moon hits Jupiter. You see, the moon's at 14. Jupiter's at 17. That's 3 months. This is like 3 months before Donald Trump blows up into a big blueberry and explodes. That's why I said it's normally you'd think Jupiter's good. But in his case, I think this 3-month factor is a really big one in timing for him. So I didn't talk about that much on the Donald Trump eclipse because I was trying to keep it time shorter. It was about 20 minutes tape, and if I were to get sidetracked with these explanations for people who are not studious like you guys are, congratulations to you. You're all here listening to this because you want to know more. Some people don't want to know more, but you give yourself a pat on the back because you're here and you're learning. So congratulations to you. So there's an example of timing in a secondary, this is called secondary progressions. And the moon is very useful in when it backs up something that's already prevalent in the chart and you know what's going on. You say, oh, that looks like about 3 months to go for that one. And something within that time frame, because he's already feeling it now. And that's why I wanted to put his chart up. I could see that with this eclipse coming up, things are really blowing up for him. And I was up all night that night trying to get it posted because I did the video and it took me like 4 hours to get the titles on. So it didn't get posted till early in the morning, but I wanted people to see it before the events started occurring. I could see that, oh boy, this is really big in this eclipse. Anyway, do watch that eclipse video for further details, but now let's talk about it for us. You see him? This is let's look at him and see how this will work for you. He's got this happening. Here's the second house is Taurus, and the 8th house opposite is Scorpio. This is the axis of this eclipse. In this, the 2nd and 8th house matters of Scorpio, because the eclipse is happening, affecting Scorpio and affecting Taurus. So it's going to affect these matters generally for everybody and globally. So know that second house matters are going to be predominant. Now, here it is in Los Angeles, the exact eclipse. The houses will be exact for people on the West Coast. And this eclipse is happening in the second house. And what time of day is it happening? Oh, look, there's our horizon. And it's happening down below. This is, this is like 3 hours before sunrise. Now, that explains why, if ever you've wondered, when there's an eclipse, they'll say on the news, oh, this eclipse will be visible in South America only. And you will say, well, why? Why can't we see it? This is why. It's happening for everybody, but we can't see it because it's below the horizon in this case, okay? And on this topic, this particular eclipse is going to be passing directly visible over Russia and Kazakhstan. So, big surprise, but that's a countdown for Mr. Putin also, because this eclipse is going to be felt more strongly there. And it's been historically noted that when an eclipse is visible in certain areas, they have higher instances of, let's say, tectonic plates moving and earthquakes or storms or things going on in that area. And so Russia and Kazakhstan are right in the path of this. And all of it is in the two, for everybody, the second and eighth house is going to be affected because it's in Scorpio, 2 degrees. So everybody should be aware that there's going to be a little bit of shakiness. And this is lasting for a 6-month period. The economic market and the economics are not going to be stable. There will be talks of oil prices and up and down and this and that. It's if you thrive on volatility and you like a crapshoot in the stock market, then go for it. But other than that, I would say I'm not a financial planner, but I would say be super careful. That's good advice, always good advice. But if you don't have money to spare, don't go investing money. And because things that are unexpected are going to happen. And you've got Uranus over here in Taurus, and that's in the mix for sudden unexpected changes. And there are things that are a little bit cloudy with Neptune and Jupiter over here. Maybe people aren't being entirely honest about some stock prices and whatnot. There might be some underhanded things. So just be careful. If you are planning to invest money, if you are getting a mortgage, you have to be careful about your percentage and all that. Use common sense and be careful and extra cautious. So look in your own personal chart and see where is Scorpio. In this case, it's in the second house, so it's reinforcing the money thing. But look in your own horoscope and see, where do you have 2 degrees of Scorpio? I was born with about 2 degrees away from that, and for me, I have it up here in the 11th. So my axis for the eclipse is 11th house matters and 5th house matters. How do I interpret that? I'm saying, well, I have a whole bunch of wonderful, this is friendships. I have new friendships, all of you people out there. You're my new friends and social circle. And I am super happy and joyous about that in Leo. And it's leading to creative things in the 5th house where I can play with my creative urges, because I'm a musician and I can do music and meditation. Those are things I love to do with people that I love. So for me, it's happening there. So look at what axis is it happening in your chart and see what are the areas of life that are most likely going to be really affected. If you have it in the 6th house, there might be some elements relating to your health. And I would say that eclipses are always long-lasting changes. They're turning points that have effect for a long time. So you want to pay attention to where Scorpio is and Taurus are in your chart and see what's looking at down your horizon. And you've already listed, hopefully, on your chart, you've written Uranus, which is in Taurus, 17 degrees during the eclipse, and Saturn in Aquarius. These are fixed signs. Notice we now have Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio. This is a fixed sign eclipse, and it's got Venus involved also. So this is, and the moon, relationships. Mercury's close by here, communication. This is a real intense one. The South Node means that you are going to be dealing with past issues in this eclipse. Past issues are going to come to the forefront. And past karma, maybe relationships with people that you've known before, and so forth. So that's how I want you to look at, study this for your own chart, and we'll talk more about it next Saturday. And you're going to keep track of what happened to you, and we want everybody to report back and say, did it pan out the way you thought it would or not? And I would like, so, hi everybody. I'm really hoping that we can get more subscribers, and I can get a moderator to help with questions and things, because I'm having trouble keeping my eye on your comments and reading things. I'll look at them all later, so I will see them, but I'd like to be able to have more interaction with you. Hi, Mildred. I'm beginning to get to recognize people. Betty, we were talking about you. Okay. So I have a new friend that just joined, that I just did her horoscope yesterday, and I want to talk to you about her because there's one other thing that I had an idea about. And this is a weird idea that I had for the class, because I'm really interested in meditation and music for meditation. And one thing that I've been doing for 50 years that is really cool, but very few people know about it, but you'll be the first to know. It's kind of related to, have you heard Tibetan bowls, or what they call singing bowls, and they produce that beautiful harmonic resonance that's so spacey, and it's great for meditation, chakra cleansing, and all of that. Well, there is a vocal technique that everybody can learn that comes from the country of Mongolia. And I had a lady that just joined. I think her name is pronounced Balorma. I'm not sure, and I'm not sure if she's here, but she lives now in Canada, but she was born in Mongolia. And I asked her when I sent her chart, I said, do you do Mongolian chanting? Because I wanted to talk to her about it at the class. And she said she loves it, but she didn't know how to do it. And I said, well, I could teach you. So I had an idea of maybe starting a little group. We could do a Zoom meeting, and I could teach you how to do this sound. Because when you make this sound in your own body, inside of your body, it has much stronger effect, because it's actually resonating through all of your inner parts. It resonates in your brain and through your whole body, and it's very effective. And it's fun, too. So it's a form of singing. You don't have to have a good voice. Don't worry about that. You don't need to be a singer or think that it's you're singing like opera or something like that. No. It's a way of meditating with sound, and sound vibrations are very powerful. So if anybody's interested, put a little comment. You'd be interested in learning more about it. We could have a little Zoom meeting, and I could show you how to do that. And I think you'd really be blown away by it, because it's such a strong effect on you when you do your meditation. So that is called Mongolian chanting. And on the topic of meditation, I have one other thing I want to show, and I don't get paid for any of these things. I love this blindfold, this sleep mask. I got it on Amazon. It's called Mindful. The thing that's cool, if you can see, it has foam, and it has little holes in the foam for your eyes so you can open your eyes. If you're meditating, sometimes you have a third eye thing where you're seeing something. Has it ever happened to you? You know, you see something and you are not sure if your eyes are open or closed because you can see it so clear. And you open your eyes, and then if you see the light, then that's the end of it. If you have these on, you can open your eyes and know, wow, my eyes were closed and I saw that. Then you'll know for sure. Anyway, I really recommend these for your meditation practice because they're really helpful. Okay, so Balorma, welcome to our class, and she's born October 24th. So I want to say happy birthday in advance to Balorma. And I will have to tell all of you, I haven't figured out a system to make a list of when your birthdays are so I can say happy birthday to all of you. And I've just seen about 400 birthdays and I can't remember them all. So I'll figure it out so I can say happy birthday. Here's something I'm holding up. Oh, this was my note to say something to April, and I sent her a little message, so she got that. Thursday, October 20th at 1 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Eastern, and 11 a.m. Pacific Time, I'm going to be on Nancy Jean's Garden channel. That's this Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific. There you can make the adjustment. Nancy Jean's Garden. She's smart in astrology herself, and she's worked in politics, and she has so much knowledge about political things that's very specialized. And the thing I love, she reads tarot cards, and she's just an awesome person, but she works with crystals and rocks, and she makes a mandala for you. If you buy this mandala from her, she makes it with crystals that are just for you in this beautiful pattern that is so amazing. So if you don't know Nancy Jean, come and join both of us on Thursday, 11 a.m. Pacific. And I don't know what we're going to talk about, but it'll be something fun. We might tie in crystals with your astrology signs or the eclipse and all kinds of fun stuff. So come and join us. And I think that's my list of stuff. We'll do more on the eclipse next week. Mildred is the 25th your birthday? Wow. Well, it's going to really be, this is a strong eclipse for you because it's a lunation, it's a solar, what we call in astrology, a solar return. A solar return means that it's the one day of the year that the sun returns exactly to where you were born. Mildred's got her solar return on the big eclipse. Mildred, wow, that is huge. I think we should look at, I'll ask Mildred to send me an email if she would give us permission to share her chart next week at class. We could look at Mildred and Balorma. If Balorma will give permission, that would be a very useful thing for you to see how a solar return works. Each of you has one every year. A solar return very rarely is going to come with a big eclipse like this one. So that's huge. All right, everybody. So I see singing bowls. Okay, the singing bowls, Linda, we're talking about doing singing bowls with your voice. So you will get the actual sound that singing bowls make coming from inside of you. It's such a cool thing. Mongolian chanting. It's very, very powerful. All right, so I'll be looking at all your comments, and send me emails if you want to ask me for something in particular. But I really prefer if you can put comments in the section on YouTube so that we get credit through YouTube and better promotion through them. Oh, remember the contest. The evildoers. The evildoers, I think that it's due, you have to have it in by the 29th or the 28th. I forget the due date, but think about it a lot before you put in your answer. By the way, I had made a screw up. There was one chart that was left off. I think it was number 5 when I first posted it. And I put that on later. So you get 1 entry unless you entered right in that first week where there might have been that mistake until I fixed the mistake. Because I think it's because I was drawing and I hit the pause button to draw, and then that turned off the recording. That's, I think, what happened. All right, everybody, go to your Do the Evildoers, because you can win a free 2-hour reading, and you'll be amazed at all the things we'll talk about in our reading. So thank you very much. I love you all. Come join us Thursday. Nancy Jean's Garden. Bye, everybody.